background.
You don't know if you guys recognize that guy in the background there, but that's a human gorilla right there. Crossing the finish line in Muskoka looking for help and aid tent. All right, guys, thanks for an awesome summer. Congrats on an amazing, unplanned, but well-executed race season. A few races kind of jumped on us last minute and everyone took advantage of them as they could. It was amazing to see all of your hard work pay off. We kicked this off middle of February, officially March 1st, doing some Zwift workouts and doing a little build season for our cyclists, for our triathletes, for our runners. And what did we get outside? Like end of April, beginning of May, started ramping up training outside. Our group rides this summer and runs were amazing. Tons of faces that we saw, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings, Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings. And you guys all got to reap the benefits of all of the structured training and all of the group motivation in your races. And we still have a few more races left coming up near the end of September, October, and even into November. We have a couple races for some of our athletes, but for most of us, we're kind of winding down the race season and starting to ramp up what we're calling the foundation season. We typically, or you would typically hear it as called as the off season, but I think based on what we have planned, the off season is not the right term for this. We have, you know, some amazing work planned and we're super excited to help you guys take your overall athleticism to the next level, build your strength, build your mobility, really fine tune your nutrition, your recovery, and then work on any of those imbalances or sorry, not imbalances, but work on any of those areas that you want to improve your technique, whether it be swimming, whether it be biking, whether it be running, really dial in some of the form and technique and help ramp things up. So foundation season, you know, things are going to shift slightly. I think the big thing that we're going to shift is the focus, mentally and physically. I think the race season can be so demanding. Physically, yes, you know, punishing on the body, all the training, all the hard work. But I think mentally, for me, I know as soon as I finished Wisconsin, I couldn't believe the toll that the training and the race and the whole summer kind of took on me. And I don't think you really realize it until the adrenaline wears off. And I think we're very aware of the fact that whether you guys are still just super excited about, you know, being part of the club, getting to race again, all of that stuff, for the longevity of your, you know, career in these sports, we need to make sure we turn things off a little bit and shift the focus so that we can make sure that next season is, you know, the same, if not better than this season was. So main focus is we really want to build strength, power, and speed in this foundation season. We want to focus on form and mechanics in the run, bike, and swim. We want to improve mobility, imbalances, and get rid of any of those aches and pains that you have. And a big one for us is we really want to focus on your nutrition, not so much, you know, that in training nutrition that we had to do all summer, but on your nutrition habits in general, including the quality of your food, the quantity of your food, your routine each day, each week, and then finding balance in that nutrition. So first key area, which of course I get super excited about, is our strength work. You know, relatively new to a lot of you longtime endurance athletes. Strength work is usually just kind of like something you can squeeze in on the side or something that you can fit in when time permits. But in the foundation season, especially, we almost want to make your strength work a primary focus. And we all want to get faster. We all want to get stronger. And you don't necessarily do that in your training per se. You can do that in high quality strength work focused on, upper body, lower body, core work. One of the huge buzzwords is posterior chain. We want to build the glutes. We want to build the hamstring. We want to build all those muscles in the posterior chain, because when you're riding and when you're running, the sports are so quad dominant that we really want to focus on fixing those muscle imbalances and really targeting those muscle groups that get neglected in the heat of training and in the heat of summer. So our strength workouts, I'm going to program 3 a week. I'm going to program Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Mark and I have worked together to build, a weekly routine that prioritizes his work plus your strength work. And whether you get all 3 workouts in or you get 2 of them in, I really want you to make sure that you do prioritize this time in your schedule. And you will get the chance to decrease your training load with your swim, your bike, your run training, whatever that focus is, so that you do have the time to add these strength workouts in. So opportunities to get the strength work in. For those of you who are on WADUP, it's the strength training app that we're using. If you're on there, amazing. You'll continue to see the workouts going up Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you're not on there, we'll just send you a quick reminder of how to get on there. Super easy. And once you're on there, what we love about it is it has all the exercise demonstrations. It's set up so that you can input your numbers and you can track your progress over the entire foundation season. So a great tool to help you monitor and measure how the strength training is going. If you're going to do your training at home, I tried my best all summer to keep the strength workouts to minimum equipment, body weight or very small weights. In the foundation season, though, we are going to have to ramp up the intensity or the load. So I'm going to need you to have a set of dumbbells, a kettlebell, a barbell, a squat rack, a bench press. Jason welcomes everyone to his zone, the strength zone. So if you are planning on working out from home, I really want you to make sure you have the right tools to really get good quality workouts. The other option is maybe you're already a member at another gym, like a Good Life or a YMCA or a Movati, where you can take WADUP into those gyms and you can follow your training routine there. Maybe you're a member at another group training gym or a CrossFit gym. The only thing I recommend there is really focusing on the strength portion of those workouts as your main priority. And then any of the conditioning work, just being smart about it and maybe even substituting some of the high impact movements with more high quality movements. And then the last option, which a few of our members have already taken advantage of, is getting into LP. On Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays at LP, the workouts are highly focused on strength. And what you're going to see is the LP endurance workouts are actually, the ones that I post in WADUP are actually going to be almost an identical replication of what we're doing in the gym. So if you are working out on your own or you're working out at another gym, just make sure you're cross-referencing to make sure you're hitting all of the, what we call accessory work, but all of the single arm, single leg, unilateral work. I think, the sport of endurance is spent so much on single arm, single leg movements, especially running, cycling, that we need to make sure that's how we train. So we're going to be doing a lot of lunges, a lot of step ups, a lot of single leg squats, a lot of Cossack squats, a lot of, core work that's demanding your body to kind of work in one line. So all of that work, I want to make sure that it's productive for your training. Okay. And the last thing with the strength work, I'm excited to run one workshop for sure, maybe a couple, in October, starting as soon as possible, to bring you guys into the gym to go over all of the movements that you're going to see in the program. So I want to bring you guys in, no charge for that. I just want to bring you in 10 at a time and go over the fundamentals of all those movements, so that if you are doing the workouts on your own, that form and technique is bang on and you're getting the most out of all of the workouts. Okay, so stay tuned for a schedule on when we're going to book those workshops in, likely an evening during the week or a time on the weekend. Okay, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to hand it over to Coach Mark to review the endurance component of our next training block.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Guys, I can attest so much to that strength piece he's talking about. Like last year, Jess and I made that like a huge focus over these 3 months. And I can tell you it was purely like one of the main reasons why we ended up like hitting a bunch of run PBs in the spring, staying injury free. Like if you can double down on this in these months, like I can tell you it's going to help your performance, keep you away from injury. It makes such a difference. So it's a piece that I learned linking up with LP, and like I'm not going to stray away from that in the future because it's helped me so much for my performance. So just coming from our perspective on it, we've seen the results on it. And just one other thing to mention, just on that yearly schedule we kind of had at the start there, that's definitely like an oversimplification and a little more like targeted at like a tri-season type of piece, where like a runner may have like peak races in kind of the spring. So just know that's kind of an oversimplification of the year. And we will have, we're going to be polling the group to see what kind of target races they're doing. And we'll build out a whole calendar of some of the, how the programming peaks for certain races based on certain seasons. So just know, like, just because it says base season up to March there, if you were running the Chile half marathon in March, doesn't mean we won't have programming for you to be able to peak and run a really good race in there. So I just wanted to mention that piece with the yearly calendar. So focusing on the endurance section for this block coming up, what you'll see, I wanted to give you kind of a snapshot of what you can expect in the overall programming, and I'll have a little snapshot of a week coming up. But overall, like we're definitely cutting the volume down a fair amount because we want you to definitely double down on focusing on pieces like more strength training and the nutrition and the recovery pieces. So a lot of the workouts will kind of be these second and third points here. So a lot of like low intensity sort of aerobic stuff. And then a lot of our intervals are going to be very like strength based. So on the bike, you'd be looking at things like low cadence type of stuff, running, maybe some more hill type of reps, less focused on like really high like intensity on those ones. And then also coupled with some workouts that are just like very short, high intense intervals. So like on the bike, you might see things like really high 20-second like bike intervals that are really like high muscle recruitment, and can kind of start to build that like high-end engine that we can kind of use as we go into the other pieces. And you'll notice, especially with the workouts where before we are really like focused on hitting certain wattage or paces, that you'll see a lot more built into the workout around form and mechanics in these times where we can forge these good habits. So we would be working on things like cycling cadence and your form through that pedal stroke. And maybe at the start of runs, there will be 5 to 10 minutes of drill focus type of stuff that we can really create the foundation for when we get into that base build and kind of race season, that you've kind of forged the good habits to allow you to hold good form through that as we build the workload throughout those seasons. Also during this time, it's an awesome time to maybe back off a little bit less, swim, bike, and run, and try out some new sports. I know like I've forged some awesome fitness from like XC skiing in the past, but doing anything that makes you, like Adam said, more athletic and gets you to move your body in different ways, like things like climbing or mountain biking, where you can learn a bunch of biking skills. this is definitely the season to hop off your TT bike or get off the roads and go explore some new stuff. So really our fitness goal here, I know everybody wants to be growing their FTP all the time and increasing their 5K pace, but during this time, really our goal is more of like a maintenance type of phase. You're probably not going to be hitting crazy PBs across this part, and you got to be okay with that because you're really focusing a lot more of your attention on some of those other areas that are going to allow you, when you get to that part where this is a huge focus and you want to peak for a race, that you're able to do so. You can't hold this crazy high level of fitness year round and actually expect to hit really high levels. You'll just kind of plateau and kind of hit a smaller level if you don't let it dip down. So if you look at your like training peaks over a year and look at kind of the graph of how it goes, mine in these months always dips a bunch down, but every year it dips a little bit less because I don't take an off season. It's a foundation season. I do some maintenance, double down on the other areas, and then you'll watch the graph go up when January comes again. So just be okay with that because your focus is in different areas on this. And if you're really like peaking for a goal race or something this fall or like early in the new year, that's where maybe shoot me a message and we can find some ways to mess around with your programming on that to make sure you're hitting that, or look at maybe one-to-one coaching if you do have some goals that are like late in the season or early in the new year that may need some extra attention, and the group programming might not quite address exactly that peak fitness that you're looking for. So that's kind of a snapshot of some of the endurance.
Okay, nutrition is next on the list. I actually wanted to just mention I've had a pretty interesting year, sort of seeing the full endurance season from some pretty amazing athletes. Nutrition in endurance, this is an area that's relatively new for me, not from a gym perspective, but in the endurance world. So it's been neat to see what sort of a year looks like, and then how can I bring my expertise into that year and sort of build out a plan that makes sense. So like in terms of my communication, kind of when we first started the group, I wasn't 100% sure, okay, what information do I need to put in now? What makes sense? It's been awesome to see sort of a full year come around, and now I am able to build that plan out and what's important and kind of figure out where we should be focusing our nutrition for all of the areas. So just sort of in summary for some of the areas, I'll start with base season. So let's say from that January to March season, if we're going for that, that would be sort of our chance to get our bodies to where we want them to be for leading up to our season. So if you're an athlete potentially that maybe would need to either say gain some weight or lose some weight, this would be a time that we would potentially work on those sorts of things. So making sure that we are primed and ready to sort of take our body to the next level for those next season. So then moving into that build season, this would be a lot more performance driven. So a little bit more of, let's say, timing comes into play with your fueling. We want to make sure that your macros are more on point for this time period. You're training hard. You want to make sure you're recovering well with that nutrition, and starting to fuel for those workouts. Make sure that you are, like I said, recovering well, giving your body what it needs. Then heading into race season, that's when we would focus a little bit more on workout nutrition, making sure we're spot on, or trying to, at least. I know there's always lots of gut issues and stuff, but trying to sort of figure out what is a good plan for each of you for that race season and for your particular races. So those are sort of the other three areas, focus areas throughout the year that I'll sort of focus on with my all the stuff that I'm posting in the Facebook group. But for our foundation season for right now, I really, really, really love this season because you have just, and some of you, I know you guys are still in it, so you might not be here yet, but you've just pushed your body to the limit. You have been training a lot and fueling your body with a lot of liquid drinks, maybe liquid calories. You had a bunch of gels, you know, your body and your gut needs a little bit of tender love and care. So in our foundation season, carbs, exactly. In our foundation season, this is where we're going to give your body that chance to recover, refuel, get that gut health back to where it needs to be so that it can then fuel you for those other seasons. So the goal of this foundation season for nutrition, I want to really focus on those basic, yes, but very, very fundamental nutrition habits. I shouldn't really call them basic because I would say not very many people do a lot of these fundamental habits. So we're going to really take a focus on these and try and build those out using quality foods, make sure we have some good quantity in there, getting good routine, balance, all those sorts of things. And then this is also a great time for, we do a little bit of blood work. Adam and I have talked about this a lot. If it's something that someone's interested in, I will be posting about this a little bit. You're more than welcome to do this on your own. We can talk a little bit more about that. And sleep and hormones. So with our nutrition, with all of the refuel, this is a great opportunity to get those hormones back sort of in balance, making sure that we're giving our body what it needs. So that's kind of an overview of the season in full, and then my focus moving forward for the foundation season. I did put on there, join the Fit Life Challenge. What I want to talk about this a little bit. You guys would have received an email about this. 2 opportunities in the Fit Life Challenge I had, if you guys were thinking about it. I know there's some of you that have already signed up, but I just want to touch base on it quickly. I had 2 options on there. One was the healthy eating option, and one was more of a body comp option. My recommendation would be is if you have been really, really, really working hard, you are just sort of finishing up race season, you've been pushing your body to the limits, that sort of healthy eating plan would be probably the area that I would have you focus on. If you've had a little bit of a less intense summer and you haven't been crushing your body to the limits every day, then maybe it is a good opportunity to sort of get into that, that body comp sort of change challenge. Okay, so just make sure you're choosing the right. I don't want you going necessarily from a go workout plan, training plan, to then all of a sudden trying to make your body do all of these things when maybe we need to hit this sort of foundation, refuel, make sure your body, your gut is ready to go, and then we can sort of build on that afterwards. Okay, but totally up to you. But the group as a whole, my communication for the next few months will be more so around that refueling of our body and gut and getting those good nutrition habits down pat so that we can get our bodies functioning 100% so we're ready to push it when the time comes.
That's it. Awesome.
That's
we've
all.
had a few endurance members reach out about getting involved in the Fit Life Challenge or the nutrition challenge, and a cool way to up your game, or even just as a learning opportunity over the next 12 weeks to really nail your nutrition as we head into next season. Doc, we're going to hand it over to you for what the focus is on recovery for the next training block.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So Yeah, recovery. This is a really great time to prioritize recovery because we have more time available to us. As most of you guys are aware, the endurance season takes up a lot of time, whether it's being on the bike for a long time or running and getting all the other stuff done in a week. The programming is so amazing at making sure it doesn't interfere with like our regular lives too much, but it still means there's a lot of time committed. Weekends are spent, doing long bricks and things like that. So this is a great opportunity to spend more time focusing on recovery because your training volume might be a little bit different than it has been. The main goal is to just move better. Ultimately, if you've noticed throughout the certain season that we just finished that your hip is tight or something doesn't move as well as it should relative to the opposite side, or you get this weird clicking thing going on in your knee when you hit, kilometer, whatever on the bike or the run, this is the time that you would want to address that because you're also going to be loading your body in a different way with the strength training. So you want to make sure your body's moving well to allow you to perform as much as you can through like the strength work so that when it comes time for, cranking down on the endurance work again, we're not trying to like play catch up and deal with things a little too late. So basically saying address imbalances, aches and pains. If you work with another physio, chiro, maybe a massage therapist, athletic trainer, maybe you can talk to them a little bit and see if they can tailor something specific for you, like a progressive rehab plan or a progressive mobility plan. I'm going to be providing for all the members of the group, like a weekly mobility sort of endurance specific focus that we want to go through, looking at really common things I see with endurance athletes, probably tackling certain mobility limitations in the hip, maybe how to work at getting the back a little bit better in terms of its endurance, in terms of its ability to tolerate all of that load we put on it. Things like even shoulder health, because it's going to come into play when we do start working a lot more of the strength training, but even supporting yourself on the bike for a long time, or when you're swimming for, all of your training sessions. So we'll kind of look piece by piece throughout the body on a weekly basis. So that'll be a general program that everybody will kind of have access to. I'm going to go through. And then if you want individual, more unique, specific type work, then I'm happy to work with everybody as well. I will be at the gym at LP on Friday mornings, usually in there from about 9 until 12, but we're going to probably be increasing that hours a little bit as well with the fall coming up. So yeah, again, happy to work with anybody individually if needed, if we have like a specific thing, or if you're generally moving good, you don't have a ton of aches and pains and you want to follow the general program, totally fine. But the main thing is that you should just really make sure you use this time to make sure your body's in the best position to get stronger, build that foundation to then execute and perform later. Because we don't want to be, neglecting these things now with a different sort of training volume. That weird hip thing might have gone away, but it will probably come back. So make sure you address it now as opposed to later. So if anybody has any questions about what the programming will look like on a regular basis or how it works to get in with me at the gym for like a whole body assessment, just shoot me a message or an email and we'll get you sorted.
Awesome. Thank you, Doc. Yeah, guys. I can't recommend enough just getting in for that full body assessment just to see where you have room for improvement. You guys know that I see Kyle a lot during the season, but in the off season, it's all about, fixing aches and pains, but trying to improve performance, which means, if we can increase range of motion or stabilize, the hips to make them stronger or build the core to make it stronger, then get started with that baseline assessment to do it. Definitely. We're going to hand it back to Coach Mark to go over what our weekly training plans are going to look like in the foundation season.
Yeah. So this is first up here is the training peak schedule. So I'll have what the actual group workout schedule is coming up. So this is more what you can expect to actually see within your training peaks. So triathletes, it'll be down to 2 runs, 2 rides, and a swim on those. We put days and stuff in there, and I did a little picture on the next one, but obviously modify that around as needed to kind of tailor to your schedule. We sync these a lot up with the group workout schedule that we'll share coming up. So that's the reason behind some of these days here. Runners, it'll typically be 3 runs in those weeks. that we'll be programming there. Usually 2 are kind of workout based and then kind of an easier one in there. Cyclists, same thing, typically 2 to 3 rides, but most weeks it'll be 3 in there. And then the strength, like Adam was mentioning, we'll be scheduling 3 a week in there, trying to complete 2 as much as possible minimum throughout the week. But this is a season, like if you don't have the full capacity for a full like 3 runs a week as a runner, like you can still get some pretty good maintenance focusing on the 2 like main runs of the week. Kind of those 2 core runs that have like the workout attached to it, because it's not super demanding. Same with triathletes. Like I've seen Adam in his off season go to like 1 ride, 1 run and a swim, and like be able to hop in January and still be in good form and not have to start from scratch. So like now's the time, if you don't quite have the capacity for it, like make sure you hit those strengths, those strength sessions really strong. And then if you need to drop some stuff, some of the endurance workouts might be a better one to drop there as well. So that's all on that one. So when we go to the next one here, so I just did a snapshot of like a triathletes week here. This is assuming like a full week here with 3 rides in it, 2 runs, a swim, and 3 strength. So obviously feel free to stack days that work in your schedule. So if you wanted a certain day off in there, or you were only doing 1 bike or something like that, then you could tailor it to your schedule. And then I put a couple examples of some of the things you could maybe expect within some of the workouts. So like that Tuesday bike workout would be some like high-end, short kind of muscle recruitment, high-end VO2 type of workouts with only a little bit of work in it, but it's really high intensity. We'll be doing some fun like team time trials. I'll tell you a little bit about Zwift coming up. Thursday, the run would have some like drills at the start combined with some like hill strength reps in there working on form, like a drill based swim in there, and then like a longer ride, but we'd keep the long ride somewhere in the like hour to hour and a half typically. And a lot of like kind of form work in terms of your like aero position, and as well as like working on a variety of different cadences. And then Sundays being a lot of times longer aerobic type of runs, or what we're going to plan to explore a bunch of kind of trails in the area and stuff before it snows as well. So we can kind of have some fun social runs and see some new trails in the area. So that's just kind of a snapshot of a triathletes week there. A cyclist, you would just kind of get rid of those runs and the swim in there, and you would have those kind of 3 rides in there. A runner would probably have a Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday run scheduled in here, and then the 3 strengths. So that's what you can kind of expect from like a snapshot of the workouts. So moving on to the next slide here is where we get into what the group workouts are going to look like. So essentially starting October 4th, we'll go into this schedule, but essentially we'll go to Zwift at that point for online rides. And we're going to do Tuesday at 6 a.m. and then you get a nice little sleep in Saturday at 8 a.m. And I'll be sending out next week a bunch of Zwift setup instructions, and I'll also probably run a demo next week, so you guys have a chance to like hop on and ask some questions, and I'll record it as well, just in case you're new to Zwift. And I'll map out, we're going to use Discord this year as our kind of like communication during the rides. So it's kind of a nice user-friendly one that you can do video or just voice on, and then it doesn't require like a sign up ahead of time. You just hop on the Discord and hop in that room, but I'll map out some of those details for you. Run wise, we're planning to do a Thursday evening one, hopefully grab some a little bit of sunlight there at 6 p.m. as those early morning runs are getting a little dark. And then Sundays at 8 a.m. Again, we're going to probably change the location around every Sunday. I saw Craig threw in the chat there, Masters swims are starting up at Laurier, so I'm sure a number of us might be signing up for that, and we may modify the group workout schedule if a number of people are signing up for that. We would love to eventually book our own swim time for the club and have like our own coach sessions, but right now pool time is tough to come by in terms of booking. So we're still on the hunt for that, but it might be worth, if you're looking to improve swimming, sign up for like a master's program. I know James is at one out in Wilmot Recreation Center there. And then I think a summer starting up this fall as well. Looking at events here, they had Adam, Michelle, and Doc had kind of talked about the first 3 in terms of the strength workshop, Fit Life Challenge, and mobility assessments. So I'll kind of skip to the end there. But we're going to do some definitely fun Zwift events with some other clubs in the area, as well as there's these team time trials on there that are really fun, where you have a team of like 4 to 8, where we'll do a little internal sign up at the start of the week, and you like work together and like draft one another to get like over the line as fast as possible. So it's fun because you can put together like a bunch of different skill levels on it and work together to get over the line as quickly as possible. So those are really fun, and we might hop in the odd like race to mix it up as well, just to make it fun. But those team time trials we'll plan to do kind of bi-weekly every Thursday, typically in the morning. And then I mentioned a little bit those Sunday trail run adventures, or just picking a new route each Sunday to kind of keep it interesting and explore some new areas. And running isn't totally over for the season. For those still looking to knock a goal off, we still have some good programming for the next like month to 5 weeks that I'll build in there as well, even when we kick into this October 4th time, for those kind of targeting like the virtual Scotiabank kind of distances, whether that's a 5, 10, half, or even marathon late in October. We're just lining up a date. If there's no official races, then we'll run another one kind of here in Waterloo. So that's what you can kind of expect from some events there. One thing we always like to do is we find people only take advantage of like segments of the club. And we just wanted to give you a reminder, like, to get the full experience, we offer all these different areas for you to get involved. So a big piece is obviously following Training Peaks, getting in as much of the training as you can, because that consistency is going to allow you to continue to progress and launch into these future seasons we have. And like for those that are local, and now that Zwift's kicking off, like you don't even need to be local to be able to engage with others on Discord and through these like Zwift group rides. I know we're looking forward to seeing some of our BC and non-local people on those group rides. But for those that can make it in person, like we'll have those 2 in-person runs a week as well. So let's try and meet up as much as possible with some like-minded people. So take advantage of as many of those as you can. The Facebook group, we've seen a lot more of it lately, but like if you ever have questions on stuff, like throw a question in the chat. We have a load of experience in there of people that want to help you succeed. So don't hesitate to throw questions in there, or message one of the coaches. We're always happy to help. So send us a message if you're thinking about something or confused on a certain subject, or how to follow some programming or anything along those lines. So even if we don't have an answer, we probably have a resource that can get you a good answer for it. And then, yeah, just watch out for those education pieces we'll keep throwing in the Facebook group. And same thing as that Facebook piece. If you got some things you want us to cover, some certain topics that you want us to really dive into and bring in experts, or run some of our own webinars, we are happy to do that. So yeah, just a reminder to get involved as much as you can, because that'll give you the best experience. I know the people who have taken advantage of all the aspects of this have had amazing seasons results wise, or made all these awesome new friends. So yeah, the more you can get involved, the better.
Thanks, Coach. To wrap it up, we were pretty close, 40, let's say 39 minutes, because we started a little bit late. Any questions that come to mind for you guys? I know we had a good chat going. Love the chatter about swimming. Like Mark said, out at Wilmot, there's some swims. Sounds like Laurier might be ramping up a little bit. I know the local pools, Forest Heights, Bright Up, a few of the other KW pools are lane swim is not in, the best options, but there definitely are some decent ones. Super excited to get online with you guys on those Zwift rides and get to see some faces from people who don't live in town and don't get to do the group workouts. So that's the fun part about the winter.
Any questions in the chat, or unmute yourself?
Has James signed up for his Ironman for next year yet? I was wondering.
What?
I'm gonna ask James to unmute. Just asked him, James.
I see I have no choice but to unmute.
Yeah.
My goal is before 50, so I have 2 years to do that.
Yeah.
And I think I got to balance with my family as well. So the commitment to 18 hours of training a week is probably something I should give another year before I go for the fence.
Fair
But
enough.
it's still on the target.
You got close with that 8-hour gravel ride, so.
Yeah, that was fun.
Okay, doesn't look like anything else.
Yeah, if no questions, I think we'll kind of wrap it up here.
Quick question, you guys. You didn't mention anything about yoga, Pilates, anything like that. Where do you sort of? I've been sort of loving.
Yes. Yeah, you know what? Tyler Ulmer was kind of asking the
actually
same
will.
thing. So that's a great question. And you know, I think that's definitely a great added bonus to your training, you know, any time of year, and a great tool in the foundation season. What I told Tyler is you're going to be amazed with what good quality strength training and fixing muscle imbalances and working on mobility will do for that as well. So if you love the relaxation side of yoga and recovery, and it helps, you know, de-stress and, you know, keep you healthy and strong, that's great. If you're in it specifically for the benefits of mobility and moving better, I think, you know, Kyle would be in line with me on this, but we're excited to help you guys a ton with that, with just really good quality strength training and recovery tools to go along with it. What have you found, Craig?
If I can just add to that, we have an instructor who's just building her, it's called a yoga practice. It's yoga for athletes. And right now at LP, she's hosting free sessions every other Sunday. Next one is this Sunday. So it pretty much goes every other Sunday from here on out until we switch it, which is a great opportunity to sort of get both of that foundational stuff plus a little bit of yoga, definitely designed for us athletes. So I would highly recommend, if you are interested, send me a message and I can make sure you guys can get signed up. But we're doing that 9 a.m. every other Sunday starting. She's been doing it, but this Sunday would be the next one. So definitely I would recommend that one, as if you have the opportunity to come at that time as well.
Cool. Love it. Love it.
I got
have
a
you been
question.
doing, Craig?
Sorry.
What's that?
What have you been doing that you liked?
So I've been doing like an hour to an hour and 15 every morning right now, and really just trying to get back to the balance and the flexibility, of which too much time on the bike creates a whole lot of unflexibility. So that's what it's just spend September doing that as much as I can. And then I'll get back to a little bit less than 5 or 6 times a week doing it. But right now that's a lot of what I'm doing, and just trying to get through some of this
Awesome.
aches and pains and backs and shit like that that's happening.
Is that like a 40 plus thing, or what is that?
Oh,
A 45 plus.
Oh, sorry.
45
45 to
plus. Yes, that's a new age
49,
group. New age group.
That's a competitive age
No,
group.
and to be clear, I am racing a 70.3 next year, so I'll get on this
Oh,
plane with
that's
you
exciting.
guys and
that's
do
exciting.
all this shit.
So
that I
Craig,
need to
I'd
do.
love to see you have like a little bit of a balance in your foundation season coming up right now, not just the
100%. Yeah. So I'm diving into the strength training stuff
Good.
and everything else. So, but
Beautiful.
it's just now as we really are in a shoulder season where there are some people still working hard and some people taking a break. This is a good chance for me just to dive into some mental health.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah.
so
Cool. Love it.
Yes.
don't worry. I you know how much I love lifting weights and throwing weights.
Oh, I
around.
know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right, what
Jason-
half are you doing next year?
I have not decided. I'll follow along with the group. You just tell me what people are going to do and I'll sign up.
Muscleman.
We have a
We're all,
lot.
a bunch of us rolled over from 2020 for that one.
Gonna be
So I
enough
think
room.
we have a bunch. I don't even know if it just opened for registration, or
Did it?
it's like recently opened. So it's probably still
It's great
available.
because it's only like 7 or 8 hours away, right? And
It's not even that
Even-
far.
You can have my registration.
Yeah, it's not
You
far
get
at
2
all.
for 1
honestly.
now.
Uh,
Is it flatter than Muskoka?
It's only 4 hours. Look at that.
I doubt it. It's probably more rolly, less spiky. Muskoka
Yeah.
spiky hills. It's probably more rolly being in the Adirondacks and stuff. But
It didn't look
It's-
too
it-
bad, the course.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
similar to Lake Placid. I mean,
Yeah,
Lake
it's still
Placid's
not
kind
even
of
as
big.
bad still.
Yeah. So
Only a
It's a-
4 hour
it's a
drive
great-
too, easy.
great lake to swim in too. So
Yes, that'll be nice.
all right,
Jason
I'll
had a-
dive in.
Thanks, Craig.
I had a question about new members, specifically with Zwift and stuff like that. Is there ways to do the bike workouts on a different type of stationary bike, or do they need the setup with a smart trainer, that type of thing?
I don't think you necessarily need a smart trainer, but you need something that can link to Zwift, whether it's a power source, either like pedals, a crank-based power meter, or like a speed and cadence sensor. Or the fourth option is a smart trainer. So it's a little bit tougher for them if they're riding on like a random Peloton bike or something. I know a lot of those don't transmit like their power out to other sources. So yeah, usually it's one of those 4 kind of sources that I mentioned there. But I think that some of the bikes you could add like a speed and cadence sensor to and be able to do Zwift. But yeah, a little more
You
limited.
tie that to a Garmin computer and it works really well. It's not accurate, but it's consistent.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thanks, guys. We're excited to get rolling, and we'll share all of this great information in the Facebook group over the next week. Thanks again. Let's crush it.
Yeah. Have a good night,
Go
guys.
through.
Thanks. Great session,
Thanks,
guys.
crew. Look
Yeah.
forward to seeing everybody at the gym.
Yeah, in Jay's wheelhouse, baby.
Oh no, big J dog.
Oh, who wants to bench with Jay?
No.
Nope.
No.
Jay benches me for warm up.
Yeah,
Literally.
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 Thanks, crew.
Thanks.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. See you.
Thanks. Bye.